So Catherine, opening to questions now.
So there's 3 new questions and there's a repeat question that we have not actually addressed. So I'm going to start with the new question, one of the new questions. Is it possible to discuss the positive effects of having negative ions around the house? Perhaps a reference to a reliable source.
You know, it's so easy to, because I tune into the frequency of everything. It's so easy for me to actually become one of those, you know, which product or which gadget guide. And my role as a wisdom keeper and sharer of what's coming through for this age is to have you connect to what feels right for you. It really isn't, you know, it isn't one thing fits all. You know, what may seem good for one person may actually not be that good for another. So, you know, really the person who's asking this question, my response to you would be, just feel into your gut. Is this right for you? And follow unequivocally what you receive as your response.
Thank you, Mynoo. And I know you're big into crystals. I see many of them behind you and the amazing frequency that they hold. I'm going to actually ask that question since I don't get a question during the week. Can you speak about crystals and the crystals you have around you and what those do for us?
Yeah, I mean, crystals are living beings, and if you understand the vibration philosophy, then everything is an active living vibration, right? And crystals are literally living beings. They're way more ancient than us, and it takes some pressure of the earth for them to pop up so that they can be mined. You know, it's quite, they exist about like 5 miles below the Earth's surface generally. You know, it takes some effort for them to be brought up. Now, because they have been around for so long and they are custodians of ancient wisdom and ancient methodologies, they also are receptors. They're just completely plugged into the frequency of the cosmos. So different crystals have got different powers, and all of them together hold access to inner wisdom. So the crystals I have around me, there are different types. You know, there is I have amethyst. I have this diamond piece that's behind me. There's selectite. There's various types that are here, and you know, we can have a whole session just on crystals, and I can introduce you to my crystal being friends that are here. But they are powerful. They hold ancient wisdom. They each have their own qualities. Allow yourself to tap into that. You know, you just holding them makes a difference. You even actually looking at these crystals behind me, you're getting the benefit of their presence. They are powerful transmitters. They know exactly how to transmit their wisdom into any environment. You just have to allow, as humans, we are the only ones that interfere because our mind comes in and it just puts a block. If you allow, you receive all of their benefits, their protection, their wisdom, and their guidance as you go along. They're very active, very live.
I'm putting that one on our agenda, Mynoo. We're going to have a crystal call, so you guys look out for that. All right, so can you discuss the impacts? This one's come up before in a slightly different way, but I think it's worth revisiting. Can you discuss the impacts of the financial disasters that potentially we are all facing right now?
You know, we did receive indications of a very fundamental shift in the financial systems that were created. We've been receiving these indications, and they have been very rampant and in quick succession all the way from 2007 onwards, that there's a need for something very, very big that needs to be shifted in terms of the financial system. There are many such systems that have been created to propagate the energies of how the world was previously as it was created, where command, control, competition was the way. So to me, there is going to be some financial duress, there's going to be some financial stress. I get it, because we are used to operating with the system that existed. What is occurring calls for a dramatic shift to actually be in implementation and in operation now. So that is the shift that is taking place now. Like, we didn't get the message. We kept going back to the way it was. And then we had another crash and kept going back. And then it started recovering. We kept going back to the way it was. We had another crash. And lo and behold, we are where we are right now. So it's not that everything that has occurred in the past is no longer valid. Some aspects are, and some are to be redirected in a different way. I talk about that the playing field for everyone, but in particular business, for economy, for the economic, for the foundation on which the new economic systems are to be built, the playing field is now extraordinary results playing field. And in this extraordinary results, three things run in parallel: unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life. For the leader themselves, for their stakeholders, and for the planet. Each one, unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality. So that's the playing field. Now, in a playing field of soccer, you try playing cricket. You can dabble in it, but if you try to play professional cricket on a soccer field, it's really not cricket. So that's the shift that has taken place. Now, is it possible for certain businesses to adapt to this extraordinary results playing field? Absolutely. But remember, it's not just one or the other. It's not just unprecedented performance or only operational excellence or only transforming quality of life. It's all three things running together. And it's not just outside of you. You are a player. You are the player, not your business, not your economy. So the rules of engagement in this playing field call for each one of us rising to be players and making the choice. Some aspects we'll be players, but certainly in the game of our life, coming alive, we are players. And in some aspects, we may be spectators, others will be cheerleaders. So given that that is the playing field, that is going to have an impact, and it is having an impact on the financial systems as we envisioned or envisaged. It's going to have an effect on currency. It's going to, money was a mode of transaction. And then, but it was meant to be an additional mode, a mode of motivation for a way in which people were transacting previously. Well, in the realm of collaboration, where there is no conflict, there is no I am better than thou, money plays a role, but it's a very different role. There's a need for a currency does not mean it has to be in the form of money that as we know it. I mean, look at what's happening with us now. Do you remember how important it was to open another mall and yet another mall and yet another mall? And different marketplaces to sell stuff? Well, we've had like 2 months of only essential items being delivered by Amazon or Flipkart or whatever is operational here. I had a bit of cash at home and it's still there, most of it. What I do is I just give it to those that really need it right now. I don't need to use that cash for myself. There's more than enough that's here already. There is a recognition that is taking place. I've been talking to some of my contacts and friends in different parts of the world who, they are recognizing, like one friend of mine was saying, I've opened my cupboard and I'm looking at everything I have here. And it just feels vulgar to me that I have all this. So, I mean, of course, my thing was, well, don't celebrate the fact that you do. You know, you can do something with it. But she was saying, would I go back and buy the designer stuff for me? Which is what she did all the time. She was one of those people who was very addicted to comparing, And she's like, this doesn't mean anything. The key thing to remember, so I mean, is that financial hardship? Yeah, I mean, the hardship, remember, is again an attitude thing. We have what we have, and we can feel it's hard, and we can experience hardship. I have what I have, and it feels it's hard, and I unconditionally accept what is, and I go thrive. We had connected thriving to money. We had connected survival to money. And therefore, the financial system and the financial disaster was a big thing. What I'm being shown is the transmutation of the financial system as we know it, that's well underway. The piece that's coming on now, it's happening now already, and it's going to show up for all of us to experience and enjoy, is going to be the transformation of the nation states. This artificial separation that started creating an increased divide, all of those sort of things are what's going to go away. Now, for some, it'll be difficult to cope with that. For others, it'll be a point of celebration. The key thing is work with it. Just like I say, COVID-19 virus, oh my God, it's pandemic, it can kill you. Work with it. Something that doesn't kill most people that get it. So it may not be the answer that the person was looking for, but this is what I see.
Thank you, Mynoo. Okay, so we have 2 more questions, and then I think we're going to do a fun process with Mynoo. I'm going to skip, I think, the first part of this question. It says, what's the worst case scenario? I don't think we really even want to go there.
No, we should go there. We should go there. Someone has asked this question. It's very present. So we're going to address that. So what's the worst case scenario? Yes.
What's the worst case scenario, and what's the best case scenario?
Okay. So here's the other piece. If you don't get comfortable around the worst case scenario, the best case scenario will be a pipe dream and you will not engage with it. This is the time where it's a time to get real. Just get real. The worst case scenario is what is playing out right now. Markets closed, people are in their homes, movies only available on your computers, uncertainty, what's going to happen when you open up. Will your career still be there? Will your job still be there? Will there be a need? What's going to happen to your industry? This is the worst case scenario. You're already experiencing it. It doesn't get worse than this. Just look at how much money you are actually using. Very little in terms of real cash. So you can imagine it. Of course you can imagine. The worst case scenario will actually vary person to person based on their own attitude and their own imagination. And the same thing applies to the best case scenario. The best case scenario is also playing out right now. How amazing. No aeroplanes. No pollutants from cars. I wake up in the morning and there's the sunrise and blue sky and fluffy clouds. The luminescent waves. It's become like a record that I keep playing every time. The best case scenario is playing out as we speak, and the worst case scenario is also playing out as we speak. What it is for you will be driven by your attitude. It calls you to find certainty within you. And from that space, make your choice. Don't have to go back to the career that you had as you knew it because you feel you have to. Maybe, that you recognize now what was your unique gift. And you choose to go back coming from that gift. And that could be the career that you had before, but it'll be on your terms. The best case scenario is you all get that, and you start operating by walking your path at all times without compromise. That's the best case scenario, but it's up to you to create that. I said right from the beginning when I talked about 2020 energies, 2020 is a year of doing, and the being follows. What I didn't expect is this thing to occur in the way it has, for that being aspect to be real for everyone on the planet, everyone on the planet, the rich, the poor, the young, the old, different cultures, different statuses, different strata of society. They're all coming to a realization for themselves and choosing to be whilst doing. There's only so much peacocking that you can do in front of a computer. So you land up actually solidifying the foundation on which you are standing. And that gets people to get comfortable in their own being. And then they start being whilst doing. So the worst case is playing out, and how that will impact you is dependent on your attitude. The world as we know it has changed already. I mean, it would be a nightmare for anyone to think at one point that the unknown is the known and uncertainty is certain. Change is constant. Are we ever going to rest? Hey, aren't we, it's about stillness. And you can completely be in this space. That's like the worst nightmare, and it's playing out right now. And it is the best opportunity ever, and that's playing out right now. And what that brings me to is the moment. It brings a sharp focus into the moment. In the moment, given that the worst case is playing out and the best case is playing out, you focus on in the moment, and in the moment there are only miracles. And a miracle is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. Your heart is beating, that is the song of the heart. Ask it, what's making it sing so much? And you'll get it for yourself.
Mynoo, thank you so much for that explanation. I think it's a perfect segue. I had to turn around because there was a bird that was singing so loud I could barely hear you. And I thought about the best and the worst in that single moment. Like, I can't hear her, but it's so beautiful. And it's so true. Our perspective is so powerful.
Yeah.
I think we're going to save this last question for next week. It's about relationships. And it's a big question. So come back next week and you'll get to hear that one. But I think it's best to turn over to you, Mynoo, because I know you have something else in store for us.